Random J Productions presents the Palm Summer League. Tonight, we make our return to the Armory Digital Superspeedway in Seattle for this year's running of the Pepsi Summer Kickoff. On this Memorial Day evening, 40 star drivers are all lined up on pit road, just moments away from the start of the final Palm Summer League season. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Josh, your commentator for tonight's long-awaited return to the site of our most iconic and most popular race on the channel. Of course, many things have changed since that GSS season opener. In addition to this newer series are also all the new faces and new places we're heading to this summer. There's also, of course, a number of storylines to keep up with both tonight's race and throughout the entire summer. Starting, of course, with the driver who won that iconic race 3 years ago, who hasn't won since. That being the 11-car Jordan Stout, now driving for Baker Dynamics after the recent acquisition of Aero Atlanta Motorsports. If Stout wins tonight, it will not only snap that long winless streak, but will be Pontiac's second straight win here in the summer kickoff. Speaking of which is last year's kickoff winner, that being Jose Angel Gutierrez, now driving a Chevy as he's looking for lightning to strike twice here in the Palm Summer League. As the fastest driver during Talladega preseason thunder, definitely keep an eye out for car 94 despite his 29th place starting spot. As for the pole sitter, it is one of the many talented rookies making up the field this summer, in this case being the 18 of Brad Rodriguez, as he ends Bradley Ream's streak of starting on the pole for the summer kickoff after the last 2 years. Can Rodriguez or any of the other drivers making their debut tonight become just the third driver in channel history to win in their first channel start? And last and certainly not the least is one of the heavy favorites to win here tonight, the defending series champion Jordan Forbes. Forbes has 2 Superspeedway wins here in the Palm Summer League, including 2023's kickoff race and last year's Firecracker 400, winning that race by just 1/1000th of a second. Could he be the first driver in PSL history to not only win in all 3 seasons, but to win for 3 different team owners? Of course, Superspeedway racing can be both exciting and unpredictable, and with the biggest field ever for a summer series, how peaceful or chaotic will tonight's race be? But before we get this exciting summer underway, let's first take a look at our starting lineup and pre-race ceremonies. So as previously mentioned, on the pole is rookie Brian Rodriguez and Exum veteran Bradley Ream. Row 2, 2021 golf champion Anthony Hernandez and former M&M's Classic winner Matthew Burnett. Row 3, Jack Cross in his second PSL season, and another rookie, Campbell Marsh in the 10. Row 4 is, of course, the aforementioned most recent winner at Armory Digital, Jordan Stout in the 11, and Exum reigning Rookie of the Year winner, and last year's runner-up, Riley Spurly in the 28. Row 5, the 08 of Alex Mullen, and the 24 of Keyshawn Richardson. Row 6, the 4 of Jason Albert, and Exum another rookie, Jaxon Bergem in 84. Row 7, Patrick Miller in the 62, and another rookie, this being Benny Watson in the 79. Row 8, the 59 of Caleb Rose, and Exum another channel rookie, this being the 63 of Alexander Rowe. Row 9, Daniel Voiles in the 01, and the 06 of Madison Chase. Row 10, the 53 of Random J in his final NR season as a driver, and Exum former Firecracker 400 winner, Nick Sand the 20. Row 11, yet another rookie, Matthew Huber in the 98, and Exum 2-time channel champion Ryan Wilson back in the Pepsi Shards. Row 12, Alex Vitali, and Exum another rookie and one of our newest team owners here on the channel, Haley Anderson Jr. in the 7. We got 2 dodging in row number 13, that being Lipsy in the 9, and Kyle Sustry in the 19. Row 14, 2023 PSL champion Brendan Beal, and Roberto Crown in the 21. Row 15, last year's kickoff winner Jose Angel Gutierrez, and of course Nathan Stapleton, who lost out here 3 years ago by just 2/1000ths of a second. Row 16, the 41 of Philip Torres, and of course the aforementioned defending series champion of Jordan Forbes. Row 17, Matthew Hill in the 90, and the last of our rookies, Colin Cropley in the 15. In row 18 is the 17 of Joe T, and the 49 of Dylan Matthews. Row 19, Owen Miles making his return to the Palm Summer League after missing out last year, and Exum the 46 of Johnny Hernandez. And finally, we have an all-rookie row number 20 of Baby Ruiz in the 57, and Washington State native Al Bunch in the 81. Taking a look at the track info here for tonight's race, we're going to go 36 laps on this 2.6 mile long super speedway with 33 degrees of banking in the corners, as well as, of course, the mini straightaway in between turns 1 and 2, similar to Indianapolis. And as for the weather here tonight in Seattle, it's a rather cool 52 degrees Fahrenheit of 8 miles per hour towards the south. And now it's time for a pre-race ceremony, starting with our national anthem. And now, for the first time this summer, it is time to hear the most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
Mention how, of course, Stout won our most popular race on the channel that happened at this very place 3 years ago. But let's show some love and dial up the driver who lost the Stout 3 years ago by just 2 1/1000ths of a second. Hey, Staple, Josh up in the booth. Got a copy?
I gotcha.
Hey, man, you probably remember how you lost out the last time we raced here. Is that still in the back of your mind? And what's the plan for you and your team here tonight?
Yeah, it definitely is in the back of our mind, but we're just focused on here tonight and kicking off the season on a white way and looking forward to it, and hopefully we have a shot once again.
All right, man, go look out there. Thanks for talking.
No problem. Have fun up there in the booth.
Thank you. Now, of course, before we get things underway tonight, I do want to say a few things. First off, thank you to everyone who has supported the Palm Summer League in some way so far this year. Regardless if you either joined as a driver, joined as a team owner, helped out with the paint schemes, or just simply watching right now. Your support absolutely means the world to me, and is what continues to motivate me to deliver the highest quality races I possibly can for y'all. Second, of course, on this Memorial Day evening, as an American citizen, I want to thank all of the men and women who have served or are currently serving in our U.S. military to help give us our freedoms that we honestly take for granted every day. And lastly, of course, I want to thank the entire NR community who has supported me making these races over the last 5 years. It's crazy to think that I've been making these races for the last 5 years at this point. But now, it's time to get things officially started. It's been over 3 years since the last time we raced at Armory Digital on the channel. That wait is now officially over, and so is the wait of the start of the final Palm Summer League season. We're officially under green here in Seattle. And already drivers are wasting absolutely no time, going 3 wide, in some cases 4 wide throughout the entire pack. But coming to lap number 1 is former M&M's Classic winner Mash Renette leading the way as he's side by side with Anthony Hernandez. Jack Kosnoff has approaching in the middle. There is the also the old of Alex Mullen and the 59 of Caleb Rose making the way on the inside lane as the outside continues to fall back. But now off 2, here's Jack Haas looking the inside of Burnett for the lead as those two are going to be side by side. Mullen still behind Haas. Now Rose makes it 3 wide for third. There you see Baby Ruiz towards the back of the pack who started second and dead last, making it 4 wide all the way back there as there's virtually 3 or 4 wide all across the entire pack still. Here's Riley Spurly, last year runner-up in both the point standings and this very race, going 3 wide there. Jack Haas now going to assume the lead through the tri-oval and coming to the start-finish line to complete lap number 2, Haas to the point here at Armory Digital. And just like Talladega, the start-finish line is placed closer to turn number 1 compared to our traditional super speedways as they're 3 wide for the lead through turns 1 and 2. Haas now forced to the outside, Rose in the middle, and Alex Mullen all by himself on the inside. He's going to get help from Spurly off turn number 2 as the inside gets a huge run there. Now Mullen's going to go to the middle, but now Mullen's going to go to the middle in front of Rose. Still with absolutely no help. Even Spurly not the lead driver on the inside. 4 wide of Matthew Hill a little bit further back. Alexander Vitale and Daniel Voiles getting forced up. Through turns 3 and 4, Riley Spurly's going to clear Mullen for the lead with rookie Campbell Marsh right behind him in the 10. Also in this mix is the 9 car of Lipsy, not too far away from his railfan teammate of Rose, as well as fellow Dodge Torres in the 41, as he Dodge could potentially hook up here and start a group coming to lap number 4. Rose still stuck in the middle through turns 1 and 2, as he's now 3 wide of both Torres and Haas. Here's Marshall looking the inside of Spurly for the lead going into turn number 2, as Marsh has absolutely no help whatsoever on the inside, trying to get help from the fellow Florida Matthew Hill possibly on the inside, continuing down the back straightaway. Meanwhile, most of this top dozen or so mostly settling down as they're only 2 wide, except for San Vitale. He's 3 wide of Random J and Anthony Hernandez at 88. Meanwhile, Matthew Renette, who led, of course, on lap number 2, falling back 4 wide of Jordan Stout getting forced to the outside, with Jason Albert and Joe T making some contact there. Some other drivers are back here. Dylan Matthews in the 49. Here you see Benny Watson, Alexander Rowe, some of the other rookies towards the back. Obviously in their first races, trying to play it safe. As we're once again 3 wide, Caleb Rose all of a sudden on the inside fell from Alexander Vitale, with both Hill and Marsh losing ground in the middle and outside respectively. Besides San Vitale on the inside is the 0 Daniel Voiles, the 21 of Roberto Crown, and pole setter Rodriguez as here's San Vitale for a huge run through turns 3 and 4. He was a good around Rose with ease. See a little bit of forward towards the middle of the pack of Ruiz, Anthony Hernandez, Mullen, and Lipsy as they come off turn number 4. Alex San Vitale, the former Madhouse Classic winner in his second PSL season, will come to lead lap number 6 with Voiles all over him in the 01. And as we're on board for the ladder, here comes Voiles looking to the inside for the lead through turns 1 and 2 on San Vitale. He's going to force the 99 car up the track, and Daniel Voiles will go to the lead off turn number 2. Now, regardless of what's going to happen for the rest of this race, Voiles has already doubled his lap count from last year's summer kickoff at Tennessee, where, of course, on lap number 3, he went for that absolutely scary tumble to do the seat bank into turns 3 and 4. But now Voiles is in the lead until Crown looks to the inside of the L1 through turns 3 and 4 as he's going to force the L1 up the track. And you saw some of the dodges of Spurly, Lipsy, and Forbes going 3 wide that time by off turn number 4, with Crown moving up to the outside alongside Rodriguez, as this time by Roberto Crown Jr. will come to lead lap number 6. Of course, Rodriguez was your pole sitter as he moves up the track, while Crown moves down to the track towards the middle in front of San Vitale. And he was thinking about moving, and he saw him thinking about moving down to the inside in front of Burnett, but didn't have enough time to do so, as Burnett's going to now take advantage of that missed opportunity, as he's now going to be side by side with Crown for the lead. Here comes some more Toyotas, led by Joe T in the 17, Bibi Ruiz in the 57, as well as 2 series of veterans of Random J and Forbes, with Random's going to make it 4 wide going into turns 3 and 4. He's going to force both Forbes and Rose up the track, with Campbell Marsh nearly touching that uppermost blue line on the outside. Now, of course, those uppermost blue lines is one of the things that makes Armory Digital pretty unique compared to other super speedways you race here on the channel, as a lot of drivers like to run that blue line on the outside to not only get huge runs on the outside lane potentially, but also just to give themselves room to separate themselves from everyone in this large pack. We know Matthew Burnett can assume the winner. Goes Campbell Marsh into turn number 1. So does Philip Torres, Matthew Hill, Jason Albert, Bradley Ream, and others. Patrick Mills, well, Ream goes for a barrel roll on the apron. Oh man, a lot of cars are stuck on this apron, including Madison Chase, Philip Torres, Patrick Miller with heavy front-end damage to his car. There you see Kyle Sushai, Haley Anderson, Owen Miles. I think they're mostly fine. It looks like these drivers are fine, except for, of course, Matthew Hill, who has heavy damage to his Monster Energy machine. I think Colin Cropley is fine. Ryan Wilson may have some damage, where we see the damage on 84 of Jackson Bergem. Of course, Campbell Marsh, who was the first car who went spinning, has damage, as well as Lipsy in the 9 car. Meanwhile, looks like that time by to the line. The 57 of Bibi Ruiz was the leader, followed by the 17 of Joe T, Jack Cross in the 75, Al Bunch in the 81, and the 03 of Matthew Burnett. But yeah, historically speaking, Armory Digital has always had a very early caution into the race, and tonight's going to be absolutely no exception, as a number of drivers, including a decent handful of the Fords, got damage on more than likely out of contention for tonight's race, even if they're going to continue or not. Now, of course, with this race being longer than the previous summer kickoff races at the 3-mile-long tracks of Coca-Cola and Tennessee, where, well, at least at Tennessee, pit road wasn't really a factor, but this race is a little bit shorter compared to the previous Golf Summer Series races we've had here at Armory Digital. Now, of course, of how chaotic super speeders often are on this channel, and also our green white checkered rules, I'd imagine a lot of these drivers and teams want to make one pit stop to top off on gas, just in case if we have multiple green white checkered attempts. And it looks like everyone is fixing to come down pit road this time by. Now, even though everybody's coming on pit road, I don't think anyone's going to change their tires out here, even though Armory Digital is a lot more gray since the last summer here for the Golf Summer Series. It's not particularly too rough on these tires, unlike Orlando International Speedway that we also used to race that in the Golf Summer Series. Again, everyone's coming down, assuming just a top off on gas. See Bibi Robertson alongside Al Bunch, Johnny Hernandez, and yeah, it's just simple top off and go for all these drivers on fuel. As again, with how often chaotic our super speeder racing is on this channel, it wouldn't be too much of a shock to me if we have at least one green white checkered finish, as in fact, during our last 2 summer kickoffs at both Coca-Cola and Tennessee, both those races were extended and ended under green white checkered finish rules. And as for race off pit road, truck Joe T in the 17 was the first one out, followed by fellow Toyota Jack Cross in the 75, the 53 of Random J, the 03 of Matthew Burnett, and 81 of Al Bunch as Bibi Ruiz went from first down to 6. So definitely a very bad stop there for Bibi Ruiz and his pit crew under this caution flag. But anyways, let's take a look at the instant replay to see what caused our first caution here in the 2025 Palm Summer League. So all just started coming towards lap number 8. Watch the red and yellow car of Campbell Marsh on the high side of the track as he's 4 wide of Matthew Hill, Philip Torres, and Al Bunch. It looks like Torres and Hill just could not get off each other, go up the track, whip Marsh into the wall, and pretty much everyone either somehow avoids and slows down or gets contact, like Bradley Ream, Patrick Miller. It's Ream as he went down the apron and went for a barrel roll there. Managed to land on all 4 tires. So taking this one up above, so you see Hill just could not get off Torres as he went into turn number 1. Both cars went up the track, clipped Campbell Marsh, sends him into the wall. Both Torres and Hill also go in the wall. There you see Lipsy getting some damage, hitting the 41 Torres on his right rear. Jason Albert does the same thing to Matthew Hill. Jackson Bergem as well. I think Ryan Wilson as well may have gotten some damage. Checking from Bergem, checking up to try to avoid Matthew Hill, but Bergem did get damage. And you see Brad Ream almost nowhere to go. Patrick Merrill also almost nowhere to go, as both the Matthew Hill racing drivers are probably going to be out of this race. Always out of contention. Well, Brad Ream goes for a slide, makes contact with the apron, and sends his car flipping at least once for quickly landing on all 4 tires. Not as crazy as Voiles just flipped last year during last year's kickoff, thankfully. Now let's look at this at real time. Yeah, Marsh had absolutely no idea that Torres and Hill were that aggressive in the pack. It caused this massive chain reaction very early here at Armory Digital. One car going for a barrel roll, that being Brad Ream. Now it's gone board with Matthew Hill to see his point of view. So he was waiting on Torres for quite some time, but once they actually touched, sends him, Torres, and Marsh into the wall. Matthew Hill goes for a wicked spin. Now it's gone board with Riley Spurly, who was right behind both Hill and Torres. So you can see Hill slowly but steadily moving down to the racetrack, making contact with Torres. And that's how it all started, and a great miss there for Riley Spurly. Now on board with Bradley Ream. Hang on, folks. This is going to be kind of wild. And there he goes. Oh my god. Thankfully, this time our camera actually managed to stay alive to capture that flip. Crazy, crazy stuff. And finally, on board with Patrick Miller. So Miller was well behind this wreck when it started, has enough time to slow it down, but tries to squeeze in between Colin Cropley and Bradley Ream, but just doesn't have enough room at all as he gets into the back of the 6. Heavy, heavy front end damage again to Patrick Miller, who's more than likely done for the night. But anyways, we're under caution for the first time here in the 2025 Palm Summer League season. We'll be right back with you guys after this. Welcome back to the Summer Kickoff here at Armory Digital for the Palm Summer League. We're about to come back green after a multi-car wreck in turn number 1 that happened on lap number 8. That all started when Matthew Hill came down on Philip Torres and sent the 10 of Campbell Marsh up in the wall and Bradley Ream for a brief barrel roll on the apron. Currently, the only 2 cars out of this race is Bradley Ream alongside Matthew Hill's teammate of Patrick Miller, while both Torres and the 06 and Madison Chase are multiple laps down but will still continue the rest of this race. While everybody else who was involved in that wreck, like Campbell Marsh, Matthew Hill, Lipsy, Jason Albert, Jackson Bergem, of course, they got damaged, but will continue the rest of this race, albeit very, very slow in this field. And if this race does go long enough, they could potentially be lap traffic that these leaders will have to deal with. Speaking of few leaders, currently the field is led by the 17 of Joe T, who won the race off pit road. Jack Haas's former teammate is currently in 2nd, Random J 3rd, Matthew Burnett 4th, while Al Bunch rounds off the rest of the top 5. I also should mention the 57 of Bibi, who was the leader coming back to the caution flag, but dropped from 1st down to 6th during that last pit cycle. So I'll have to see how that 57 team will recover, but if this being a super speedway, practically anything could happen here, as we're back on the green of Jack Haas doing a great restart this time by. Jack Haas with an incredible restart on the outside lane, but can he maintain his ground over his former teammate through turns 1 and 2? As this is, of course, where the inside lane absolutely thrives here at Armory Digital. Took down the back straightaway, both Joe T and Haas moved to the outside in front of Matthew Burnett, making Random J now the lead driver on the inside. As you see, Rodriguez now 3-wide all by himself going into turn number 3. And despite Rodriguez having absolutely no help that time by, he's going to continue to be 3-wide with both Al Bunch and Matthew Burnett, with Ruiz right up against the uppermost blue line on the outside. Meanwhile, for the lead, Random J on the inside is side by side of Jack Haas, as Rodriguez remains 3-wide. Sam Vitale now 3-wide with Johnny Hernandez and Ruiz. As you come to lap number 13, complete lap number 13 this time, Biotech Haas barely meets Random back to the line, but watch the run Ram's going to get through turns 1 and 2 of help from Rodriguez, as he remains side by side for the lead. Burnett right up against the line in hill 3. I mean, Burnett went so high that time, but he actually got on the rumble strips that double as caution lights here at Armory Digital. But the race for the lead continues between Random and Haas off turn number 2, with Random having the advantage over the 75. Now, I mean, obviously, every driver here tonight wants to win this race. I bet you Random really wants to win this race, considering that not only this is his final NR season as a driver, but the last time Random has won a full points-paying race on this channel was all the way back in 2021. And of course, Random came up just short during last year's Firecracker 400. It looks like off turn number 4 here, Random will clear Haas for the lead, as car 53 goes to the lead for the first time here tonight. Also coming up on this inside lane is the 79 of Benny Watson, the first time we mentioned his name all night, as he's going to be forced 3-wide by Riley Spurly with Matt Ford on the outside. Also 3-wide are the 2 PSL champions of Brendan Beal and Jordan Forbes, as they were 3-wide of Johnny Hernandez briefly there. As off for turn number 2, your pole sitter Brad Rodriguez takes the lead away from Random. Rodriguez now moves up to the outside the block Random, leaving Sam Vitale as the lead driver in the middle, and Riley Spurly still 3-wide of Benny Watson and Jack Haas through turns 3 and 4. And you see Brendan Beal continue to be 3 wide, maintain the inside lane, going way down at the bottom of the racetrack, almost making it 4 wide briefly there. He's now going to be 3 wide with Benny Watson and random off turn number 4. Coming to the front stretch, Rodriguez maintaining the outside in front of random. Spurly moving to the middle in between both San Vitale and Watson. As Beal continues to maintain the inside, hoping for a strong run here into turn number 1. Beal once again threw out of both Random and Watson. Watson this time having absolutely no help in the middle, as into 2 both San Vitale and Spurly moved down to the inside to block Beal. Alexander Rowe out of nowhere, now making it 4 wide down the back straightaway, with Watson out Bunch in the middle and Random on the outside. And as soon as I say that, Rowe's going to move back in line and behind Bunch as Random and Watson continue to remain 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. Also 3 wide behind is the aforementioned Alexander Rowe, as well as Caleb Rose and Jack Haas, with more cars coming up on the inside, including Alex Bowen and Dylan Matthews. But for now, the lead belongs to Riley Spurly off turn number 4 as he moves up to the outside in front of San Vitale, moving back down to the middle in front of his Alliance teammate Brendan Beal, coming to lap number 17 as once again 3 wide with Brian Rodriguez right on the blue paint on the outside. And just like Matt Frenette a couple laps earlier, Rodriguez got so high on the racetrack that he went over the rumble strips to double his caution lights here at Armory Digital. As for the lead, here comes another strong run for Brendan Beal on the inside as a clear Riley Spurly for the lead into turn number 2. Beal has help from a fellow Dodge of Al Bunch, and despite both drivers being Dodges, Bunch drives for himself while Beal drives for Rofan Motorsports. And with his car owner Brad Ruiz out of the race and Lipsy getting damaged also from that wreck, Beal and Rose are the only 2 remaining Rofan drivers left with race-winning pace. So I'd imagine both Beal and Rose have to work closely with not only other NS Racing drivers, but just the other Dodge teams in general, as once again, pretty much everyone in this field all 3 by 3 with one another. You know, off of 4, Bunch is going to force Beal up the track, right up against the uppermost blue line to take the lead away from the 37. Here's Alexander Rowe once again coming through the picture, with Alex Mullen now making it 3 wide for the lead, coming to halfway point here at lap number 18. Beal got up against the paint into turn number 1 that time by. Here's a strong run from Mullen, from former teammate Nick Sand going into turn number 2, as he's going to be side by side with Bunch for the lead. Meanwhile, we're 4 wide again off turn number 2. This time Benny Watson and San Vitale near making contact. Owen Miles on the inside, and Riley Spurly on the outside. Now imagine these drivers after the lap 8 incident with Torres and Hill going to be more cautious going 4 wide, especially at this point of the race, as it looks like Watson is trying to get down to the inside as he sees an opening in between both Miles and Anthony Hernandez, which he will take that opening. But over for a backseat, Riley Spurly up against the uppermost blue line as he was 4 wide briefly there. On board the back bumper of Benny Watson coming towards the tri-oval. See Anthony Hernandez making his way back to the field. Kyle Sustry also making his way through the field with help from the 57 of Ruiz. And you can see Sustry was right towards the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to get a very strong run here through turns 1 and 2 as he was briefly 4 wide with Hernandez, San Vitale, and Spurly. Off of 2, here's Sustry again going 4 wide, this time on Watson, Rose, and Mullen briefly there. And even though I just said these drivers probably should be a bit more cautious going 4 wide, I guess that logic does apply to Kyle Sustry as he went 4 wide twice in the span of a half a lap or so. But that risk going to pay dividends for Sustry, as with help from Hernandez, he's going to get a strong run through turns 3 and 4 to put himself within this top 5, while Joe T is currently side by side of Nick Sand for the lead. You know, the driver behind Joe T is the driver in his first PSL start since 2023, that being Owen Miles after missing out during last year's PSL. In fact, he and his race team, Jacoan Racing, all solidly represented in this main group, as Miles, Nixon, and Watson all in this top 10 at the moment. And as for the 4th driver, Jack Haas, despite being towards the back of the pack at the moment, when he is up towards the front, he has a car plenty capable of contending with the other drivers. At that time, by we're briefly 5 wide of Alex Mullen once again on that blue line on the outside, as he remains 4 wide with Al Bunch and Caleb Rose making some contact. Of course, very, very reminiscent of what happened to Hill and Torres on lap number 8. That was caused our only caution so far here tonight. Looks like thankfully both drivers are able to back off as we continue turns 3 and 4. Once again, the field mostly 3 by 3 with Dylan Matthews briefly being 4 wide and getting forced up to the uppermost blue line. But as we come to lap number 21, it's time for the first edition of Palm Summer Week Crank It Up here in 2025. They're approaching lap number 26 or 34 here at Armory Digital for the Pepsi Summer Kickoff. And as Alex Mullen assumes the lead, there's only 9 laps remaining to decide the first winner here in the Palm Summer League for 2025. And as we've seen practically all night, pretty much everyone in this pack, all 3x3, as Riley Spurly gets a huge run through turns 1 and 2, as he's now side by side of Mullen for the lead. Also on the inside of the fellow Dodge, the Brendan Beal in the 37 and the 7 car of Haley Anderson Jr., both fiddly enough airline cars, so 2 of the airline cars helping Spurly fly to the front, as they'll take a little away from Mullen down the back straightaway. Speaking of airline cars, there's Random J going 4 wide into turn number 3 with Staple Ruiz and his own teammate of Keyshawn Richardson. Speaking of Baker Dynamics, Short and Stout's also in this mix, as a little bit further back, see 4 wide between Al Bunch, Benny Watson, Dylan Matthews, and Joe T there. But thankfully they were able to quickly sort that out, but I would not be surprised if we see some more forward action for the rest of this race. As right now, especially if you're some of these drivers towards the middle or back of the pack especially, right now is go time. Right now is to make it march up to the front. But of course, timing is absolutely everything here at these super speedways. You can't time it, you time your move too early, but you also can't time your move too late either. Off of 2, Johnny Hernandez way down at the bottom of the racetrack, as he's going to be through wide with Richardson and Staple continuing down the back straightaway. Meanwhile, going into turn number 3, Beal and Anderson are side by side for the lead. Burnett once again 3 wide a little bit further back, as Random J is once again also 3 wide, this time for 3rd with Voiles and Spurly, as he's going to join the other 2 airline cars up front. This Lufthansa versus JetBlue versus Delta up front is now Nathan Stapleton's going to make a 3 wide off turn number 4, this time with Daniel Voiles in the middle, and Brendan Beal on the inside before Riley Spurly comes up on the outside as well. On board with Random J, coming to 7 laps to go. As he try to chase down Anderson for the lead, trying to get a run on the inside, looks like he will. And turn number 1 is once again side by side for the lead. And with the help of Nathan Stapleton, Random will go to the lead off turn number 2. Random's car has been strong all night on the inside lane. But of course the question is how long can he maintain it? But it's probably not going to be for long, as Random moves to the outside in front of Anderson. Open door for Stapleton going into turn number 3, as the entire field behind him is all 3x3. And a little bit further behind this top 3, San Vitali's going to get forced up, as he's not going to be 3 wide with Richardson and Matthews. Coming towards the trifle of 6 laps to go, Nathan Stapleton back to the point here at Armory Digital, with Voiles right behind in the 01. And as I said, here's Voiles forcing Stapleton to the outside into turn number 1, also once again side by side for the lead, with Nick standing out behind the 01, as well as the 98 of Matthew Hubert. Fellow Matthew Burnett also in this picture alongside the defending series champion Jordan Forbes. Despite him being one of the heavy favorites to win here tonight, I haven't really said too much about your defending firecracker and series champ. Could he have picked the right time to come up towards the front? So there Jose Ancho briefly going 4 wide, as he was right next to that double blue line on the inside, which is of course the out of bounds line. But through turns 3 and 4, Nixon gets a strong run on the inside. He forces Voiles up the track, as he'll assume the lead off turn number 4 with the Matthews behind him. Coming to 5 laps ago, see some more forward action, this time between Dylan Matthews and Bibi Ruiz in the middle, as those 2 are going to make some contact. Looks like they're able to get off of each other for now, but Brian Rodriguez is going to maintain the inside lane, as well as Anthony Hernandez, as those 2 are going to make a 4 wide towards the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Matthew Huber is going to force Nixon up the track going into turn number 2. But here's Alex Sustra now pulling out to the inside, as he's going to make a 3 wide on his teammate Jordan Forbes, as well as Nick Sand the 20. Unsurprisingly, we're seeing lots of close and aggressive racing in this closing point here at Armory Digital, as in the turn number 3, Burnett's going to be side by side of Hubert for the lead. Sustra fast approaching on the inside. Sustra has help from the 46 of Fernandez and Alexander Rowe in the 63, and as Burnett moves to the outside off of turn 4, Sustra maintains the inside before he's going to move in the middle in front of his teammate of Forbes, but Fernandez maintained the inside, 3 wide once again for the lead, coming to 4 laps to go. Pretty much everybody inside this top dozen, so all 3x3, you can practically throw a blanket across all these drivers. That's how close they are. But Johnny Hernandez is going to have the advantage over all of them going into turn number 2, as he gets a strong run on the inside with Alexander Rowe now 3 wide for a second before he gets help from Brian Rodriguez. Meanwhile, Johnny's son and teammate Anthony Hernandez also make his way back up towards the front going into turn number 3, as Ryan Wilson is 5 wide towards the back of the pack. He's 5 wide, I believe, Al Bunch, Benny Watson, Jordan Stout. as well as Jack Haas. And of course, as we're coming to 3 laps to go, Ryan's trying to get to the front as fast as he possibly can. He's been pretty much stuck in the back since that lap 8 incident. But for now, off 4, Alexander Rowe's going to go around Hernandez for the lead, with Rodriguez still behind him. Anthony now going 4 wide. They were making contact with Sushai coming to 3 laps to go. That was a really close call for both Sushai and Hernandez. That could have easily caused a massive crash up front if those two got together. But now as they're on board with Alexander Rowe through turn number 2, he's slowly moving up to the middle while Rodriguez maintains his spot on the inside. Will he stay loyal to Rowe, or will he go for the lead himself down the back straight? It looks like it's going to be the latter. Here's Rodriguez to the inside of Rowe as they're going to be side by side for the lead down the back. Oh my goodness, there you see lap drivers going through turns 2 and 4 that time by. And I think there's a very strong chance that these leaders could catch those lap cars. And if that's going to be the case, that's of course going to have a huge impact to decide the outcome of this race. And there you see, coming off turn number 4 now, here come the leaders off turn number 4 this time by. So like I said, I think there's a very strong chance that this lead pack could catch those lap cars. And those lap cars consist of Madison Chase, Torres, Matthew Hill, Jason Albert. They, of course, all got damaged during that lap number 8 wreck. But with 2 laps to go, anything can still happen here in Armory Digital as you pull center Rodriguez is back to the point. Here comes Joe Tino fast approaching on the inside of fall from Anthony Hernandez. Off of 2 rows up against the uppermost blue line, while Ruiz is doing the opposite as he's right up against the double blue line, continuing down the back straightaway. Of course, Ruiz trying to do this to build a run on the inside from Riley Spurly, with Richardson now 3 wide going into turn number 3. Meanwhile, the 2 Toyotas, Joe T and Rodriguez, remain side by side with Anthony Hernandez behind the 17, while the 08 of Alex Mullins help out the 18 off of turn number 4. What's going to happen here as Joe T is going to move to the outside in front of Rodriguez, while Anthony Hernandez is going to take advantage of that fact as he's now going to be side by side with Joe T, this time by coming to the white flag here at Armory Digital. Meanwhile, Baby Ruiz behind these two is going to be 3 wide for second into turn number 1 as Hernandez and Joe T remain side by side for the lead. It looks like into 2, Anthony will clear Joe T for the lead, but Ruiz is fast approaching behind the 88. Down the back straight, Hernandez has to make a quick decision. Does he go up to the outside in front of Joe T or block Ruiz on the inside? Looks like he'll move up to the outside in front of Joe T. There you see the lap drivers just up ahead, going into turn 3 for the final time. Ruiz down to the inside of Hernandez. Baby Ruiz will clear Anthony for the lead into turn number 4. Can the rookie hang on as he comes towards the front stretch for the final time? It looks like he'll do just that as coming towards the checkered flag in his first Palm Summer League start. Baby Ruiz will win here at Armory Digital. And oh my goodness, for the 2nd time in a row here in the summer kickoff, we have an upset first time winner, this time being the rookie Baby Ruiz in his first Palm Summer League start, beating out several series veterans. Wow, what a night to remember for that race team. As we have to take a look how Baby Ruiz managed to win in his first Palm Summer League start. So this is coming towards the white flag. And up ahead there you see Anthony Hernandez making a move on Joe T. But as that happens, here's Baby Ruiz for 3rd, going 3 wide on Nixon, the 20 and the 18 of Brad Rodriguez. And Ruiz has maintained an inside lane for the past several laps at this point. And he continues to maintain it through turns 1 and 2, gets around both the candy cars of Nixon and Rodriguez, and tucks in between both the 20 and 88 off turn number 2 here. And continuing down the back straight, just in my eyes, Anthony made the fatal mistake of not moving down to the inside to block Ruiz. He had plenty of time to move down to do so, but instead, Ruiz took advantage of that missed opportunity by Hernandez, moves Anthony up the track, and gets around the 88 car of ease. There you see the lap traffic just ahead, who ultimately, thankfully, did not play a factor to decide this race. And by the time Ruiz got around Anthony for the lead, it was just smooth sailing the entire way, with Ruiz not looking back whatsoever, as you saw the checkered flag up ahead. And of course, with this being a huge moment for Baby Ruiz in this race team, he's going to do some burnouts in front of the sold-out crowd here at Armory Digital. But of course, what a moment for Baby Ruiz as he and OSC Racing are your winners of the 2025 Pepsi Summer Kickoff here at Armory Digital. But anyways, let's take a look at the finishing results and point standings after tonight's exciting race. So here we go, Baby Ruiz wins the Pepsi Summer Kickoff at Armory Digital. As previously mentioned several times already, this is Baby Ruiz's first ever PSL win, coming in just his first ever PSL start. Well, overall, he wins in just his 4th channel start, as he of course participated during the Triple Winner Challenge earlier this year. We know Anthony Hernandez in 88 comes up just short once again here in the summer kickoff. Of course, if you recall, back in 2023, Hernandez was the leader coming to the final restart, but had to come down pit road on the white flag and ultimately gave up the win to Jordan Forbes. Well, of course, last year he finished 3rd at Tennessee to Gutierrez and Spurly. Another good super speedway result for Jaxon as he finishes 3rd, while Joe T in 4th led the most laps here tonight of 6 laps. And 5th is Keyshawn Richardson as the highest finishing Pontiac, where Brendan Beal in 6th will be the highest finishing Dodge. Pole starter rookie Brian Rodriguez will finish 7th, Spurly is going to finish 8th, Johnny Hernandez is going to finish 9th, while Jack Haas rounds off the rest of the top 10. And as you can see, half this entire top 10 are all Toyotas, including of course race winner Baby Ruiz, and that should boast some pretty good confidence for the entire Toyota camp, especially if the racetrack we're going to in the Palm Summer League for our next race. As for Live 20th, Colin Cropley, another one of your rookies, with highest finishing Ford as you finish 11th, while defending series champion Jordan Forbes had a rather quiet night. We'll settle with a 13th place finish. We know there's a number of drivers I can name that ran pretty decent for most of the race, but unfortunately had to settle with a top 10 finish, like Matt Fournette, Alex Infantoli ran up front for both those drivers, ran in the front for a fair bit there. Alexander Rose, especially towards the latter part of this race, Alex Mullen as well, despite having strong cars up front, all to settle will finishes outside the top 10. As for 21st through 30th, a lot of bigger names in this particular graphic. Daniel Voiles in 21st, who ran up front earlier but kind of fell off towards the latter part of this race, but still, regardless, a much better result for that team as opposed to flipping after just 3 laps during last year's kickoff race. Jordan Stout, the reigning Armory Digital winner, would finish 24th in front of his teammate Random J, who finishes 25th. Gutierrez, of course, the reigning kickoff winner, finished 27th in front of Al Bunch in 28th. Staple will finish 29th, with Benny Watson will round off the rest of the top 30. We know 31st to 40th, Ryan Wilson, despite keeping up with the rest of the pack, pretty much stayed towards the back of the pack the entire race. I guess he got some type of damage during that lap 8 caution, and you saw towards the end of that race, Wilson was going 5 wide, but despite that, 5 wide on the inside, mind you, but despite that daring move, Wilson ends up as the last car finishing with the lead pack. And as for everybody else on this list, they all got some type of significant damage from that lap 8 incident, including Lipsy, Bergem, Marsh, Hill, Albert. All those drivers still managed to finish on the lead lap, but Philip Torres and Madison Chase finished 2 and 3 laps down respectively. And speaking of the lap traffic, if this race had another lap, if this race was 35 laps or 36 laps, we would have for sure caught up to that lap traffic, and that would have definitely impacted the outcome of this race. And we saw coming after the checkered flag, Ruiz was right behind the lap cars. If there was another lap in this race, if this race is 35 laps long, we would have absolutely, not only probably would have had a different winner, but potentially a completely different outcome for this race. And finally, of course, Bradley Ream and Patrick Miller, the only 2 cars that did not continue the rest of this race, with Miller having the dubious honor as he'll be the first driver in any of our series to finish below the top 39. And now for the point standings after the nice race, obviously with this being the first race, not too much going on, but Ruiz is the points leader with 47 points, while Anthony Hernandez, Jaxon, and Joe T are all tied for second in points, all -5, but Anthony Hernandez will have the advantage over those 2 drivers due to a second place finish here tonight. Keyshawn Richardson's in 5th, -7, while Brendan Beal and Brian Rodriguez also tied for 6th in points, with Beal having the advantage due to his better finish. Right with Spurly 8th, while Johnny Hernandez and Jack Haas are both tied for 9th. So next up, race number 2 for the second time in PSL history. We're going to head overseas, this time to the land of the rising sun in Japan, in particular to the mobility resort Motegi, also known as Twin Motegi, for this year's running of the UPS Summer Special. Of course, I mentioned earlier how confident Toyota should be going into the next race. This is, of course, Toyota's home country, but this race will happen on Saturday, June 7th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, barring any delays. But as always, y'all, thank you guys for watching this race. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.